Hello everybody and welcome to this video. If you're watching this video and you haven't seen the first part of this video, you should watch that, because if you don't watch that video, you won't really understand what I'm trying to explain here and all the things I have researched for this part of the video add on to the first part of the video. So watch the first part, then watch this part, and then you'll be good to go. Alright, let's get into it. After all the research I did for the first video essay, it still wasn't enough to actually get me to go to bed early and wake up early. The habit of me going to bed late, I think, was just too strong, and all that research kind of felt like it didn't really lead to anything. So, the main question for this one is, how can I actually change this habit of going to bed early? To answer this question, I did some more research, but this time I did some different research. Maybe the scientific side of this problem wasn't helping me. Now I know everything about sleep, all the facts that are there that I need to know, I know, but it still doesn't work. Maybe I had to look at more cultural sources. That makes me think in different ways. When you think of cultural sources, you can think of all kinds of art and things that aren't scientific. Because when you have science, it's a fact. But when you have a cultural source, there can be a lot of self-interpretation, or the interpretation of the person who made that source. That can be very different than what you would expect it to be. In this video, we're going to be looking at those sources, and I divided it into a couple of subjects we are going to talk about. The first subject we are going to talk about is Alzheimer. The second subject is going to be music. The third subject is going to be art in general. The next subject is going to be about my school project. And then we're going to have a conclusion. Alzheimer. For my school project, we made an installation about what it would be like to have Alzheimer. During this research process from this project, combined with the podcast I talked about in the first video, I think I got a little scared of the disease. I realized that my sleeping pattern could lead to me getting Alzheimer in the far future. And somewhere in my head, unconsciously even, that made me want to change what I was doing now. So I looked at why sleeping is important and all these other things you can see in the first video. And I thought, this would fix it. Now I know all these things, so I'll do it right this time. But I didn't, so I was confused. What did I do wrong? Did I miss something? Did I just not take it serious enough? I still didn't know. Until I started doing more research on the cultural side of this problem I am having. That's when I stumbled across a video. The link is in the description. All the sources are in the description, by the way. This video is about a man who's got Alzheimer's, and he doesn't really respond to anything that well anymore, so they put some music on him. They give him these headphones and they play his favorite songs, and you see him light up. He becomes so much more aware. He can answer questions so much better. Instead of yes or no, he can actually talk again. You see him getting energy. And in that comment section of the video, there was one comment that made me realize how important music or art is. It read, "This is why the arts are so important. It's ageless." The fact that the power of just a couple of songs made somebody with a disease feel again and look more alive again is really astonishing to me. So this was the first step into me actually realizing that art or music, in this case, is something you shouldn't overlook. I was always thinking that the science that's the truth, and art is it's kind of weird, but it's got something to it that clings to you, and it's got something that science doesn't have, and it's interesting. So I looked more into this, music. So because of the last subject I talked about, I was more interested in music. So I looked into music and see if it could help my problem be solved. I googled a lot of songs, and these are kind of the most important things I came across on. So after watching a documentary about Alzheimer, I saw again that music was a powerful thing in remembering your past. There was someone that had Alzheimer, and when this person heard a song, he couldn't really remember the lyrics, but what he did remember were the dance moves that he linked to this song. And these dance moves are the dance moves that he used to dance with his wife to. So there is this kind of strong bond between music and memories that even a disease like Alzheimer can't really break, it seems. What that bond is, I have no clue. Now I was interested in the effect of music in general on a person. So after some researching, I found this website called radioart.com. It's an online radio station that has all these categories of emotions or actions. And when I click on them, I get connected to that feeling through the music. So for instance, I click on sleep music and it makes me feel drowsy. Or I click on stress relief music and it makes me feel more laid back. These songs are so able to convey an emotion or state of mind that it got me thinking about how important music is or can be to a lifestyle. So I looked further into other art. Because music is often looked at as art, I thought if music can do all these things, what about other forms of art? Then I found this short film. It's about a girl who can't be woken up. They try everything to wake her up. They get the most important man to try to wake her up. They try magic. They just try everything, but nothing works. And eventually she wakes up. But why does she wake up? Because her alarm clock goes off. When the short film ended, I was a bit weirded out. Like, why is it like this? So it got me thinking. And I quickly came to the conclusion that this is not such a weird thing to occur. You're used to your alarm clock waking you up. So you can see that as a habit. If you apply this to the problem that I have, or you might have as well, our habit is to go to bed late at night. So you won't go to bed 2 hours earlier if you're not tired. But I have gone to sleep early, so I broke that habit. So it's not completely true. But there's something there. So this visual form of visualizing that problem that girl had, I'm not sure if it was a problem to her, but in the video it was a problem. And they tried to fix it, but they couldn't, but it fixed itself. Maybe the problem I'm having might fix itself as well. Maybe it doesn't. I found a couple more other visual short films about sleep, about time, but they didn't really help me. They didn't get me further into why my mind is so obsessed with this. So I looked into stories. Stories are a form of art that anyone can do. Anyone can tell a story. Some people write them down, some people tell them. These two stories I'm gonna talk about right now, they are written down and it's interesting. So there was the story I read about a guy who had bad dreams about ghosts when he was sleeping as a child. When he got older, this went away. But that all changed when he moved back into a house with his girlfriend into the woods. His girlfriend went away for like a week and those dreams came back to him. He dreamt about the ghosts tapping his windows. He dreamt about them trying to get inside, but they eventually didn't. For him, these were some of the worst nights in his life. But he also knew that it wasn't true. He knew that it was a dream. But in his dream, it felt so real. He actually heard the ghosts tapping on his windows. These were just branches that scratched the windows because of the wind that was picking up. So this guy had this problem as a child, then it went away, and then it came back for a week and now it's gone again. The reason why it went away might have been because he got older, or it might have been because he got a girlfriend. But why did it come back? It came back because he was alone again, he was scared, he was in a kind of unfamiliar place, in the woods, which could be creepy. These are all things that changed and his mind just probably clicked back, and that's why he got that dream again. So putting this in my perspective, as a child I went to bed early because my parents made me to, but I never really wanted to go to bed. But now that I have control over this myself, I do go to bed later, like I wanted as a child, but I don't want to do it myself. I rather go to bed early, but I don't. So things have changed, but how can I get just like that guy who was alone for a week and it all came back to him? How can I get that? Would there be a way that I could kind of simulate that same thing happening? I know it's a very different thing that happened because his is negative, but mine should be positive. But it's true though, when you go to sleep at somebody else's house or when you go on a holiday, to me it feels easier to fall asleep or easier to go to bed. And that might have to tie in with that habit again from the last source. Because I'm so used to this place right here that I go to bed late in this room, but when I'm in another room or it's another scenario, that habit falls away and it's different. So I might be able to do what I want to do and sleep early. A little bonus story, when I was roaming these stories, I also found a story about a person who pretty much had the same problem as me. It was a bit different, but the basics were the same, and this person used an application on their phone, and you had to allow the microphone to record your sleep and You would put the alarm on and it would wake you up from 8 till 8:30. So you want to wake up at 8:30, it will wake you up between 8 and 8:30. And that app knows the best time to wake you up. So the consequence of going to bed won't be as bad as waking up to a certain alarm that is around 8 o'clock. Because your alarm clock doesn't care about your sleeping patterns. It doesn't. It just wakes you up even if you're in deep sleep, if you're dreaming, it just wakes you up. And if you're in that deep sleep, that sucks. It really does. But this app, it knows when you're in like light sleep, and then it lets the alarm go off and you might wake up early. And then you wake up and you feel better than if you would wake up by your normal alarm clock. The consequence of going to bed for me is I have to wake up. I hate waking up. Mornings are really bad for me. But if I could lighten that up and make it less bad, it might be easier for me to just say like, I'm going to sleep now, because, I'll wake up pretty fresh and I can do some stuff early in the morning. So I think it's worth a try to try the app and see if it works. I was done roaming through all these sleep stories and I couldn't really find anything that struck a chord with me anymore, so I went on to visual arts. I'll try looking for art about Alzheimer or art about sleeping or insomnia, and I just couldn't find anything that sparked my mind and let me think in a different way. Until I found this one painting. It's on a site that sells paintings. It's not a site you would look for meaningful art. But this painting had something. It should be right here or something. This painting had something that nothing else had for me in the visual art. I felt connected with it in a weird way. I felt like it could be me sitting on one of those buildings, looking at the moon, and the fact that there are like a couple more people there as well made me feel that I wasn't alone, and that calmed me down a little bit, and it felt good. It really felt good. But at the same time, I really don't know if the artist meant for that feeling to be there, or that's what's so weird about this painting. There's barely no description, but I felt something with it, so I thought I would include it, and I think it's got something, And I think the way you interpret a painting, it's all up to you really, and if it makes you feel good, just let that be. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the school project I did. The whole video essay project was made because of school project that was about Alzheimer. As I mentioned earlier, this scared me a little by making the whole experience about how it is like to have Alzheimer and what that does to your family and to others. It made me determined to do anything to decrease the chance of getting it. There are a couple of causes that make you more likely to get Alzheimer. Some are genetic and some of them you can actually change, like eating healthy. All of these things you could change, I actually pretty much already do, but the only thing I don't do is have a healthy sleep schedule. So that's basically the link to the project I did and this essay. So you could say that the school project was kind of the cause, and this essay was the outcome of my behavior of being like, oh man, Alzheimer's kind of scary, I don't want to have that. So there you go. So what have I learned from these cultural sources, and what are the difference between these and all the scientific sources that I used in the previous video? Well, first of all, let's start with some basics. I realized that looking at all these different types of sources really broaden up your view on the subject you're trying to research. The scientific sources are nice. It's good to know all the facts. You shouldn't skip that. But only looking at the scientific side of a problem, I think it's kind of bland, really, because all these cultural sources, they really enriched all the research I did. It made me so much more aware of my problem and so much more aware of all the things out there. There's so many more people with the same problem I have, or different problems and different solutions and cool stories and visuals and music. There's just so much to do, and all these sources, they have such a different impact on you than just the scientific sources. The main difference for me is that with scientific sources, I know that it's true and that it's a fact, and I can't do anything about that. But with these cultural sources, your own mind can fill in the blanks and it can create your own answers. And especially for this problem, I needed to look at answers that are personal to me, because it's a problem that I'm having. And if you're having the same problem, this video might help you, but I still feel like you have to look into this problem yourself. And I hope this video wasn't too vague, because, well, I kind of do hope it was a little vague, because if it was, that means that there were some questions in there you have to answer yourself. And if that's true, that means your mind will start working and it will find a solution for that. And if your mind can't find a solution, maybe the internet will for you. Maybe you can Google yourself. Maybe that will help. So knowing the facts is important, but looking beyond those facts might be the key to realizing or finding your solution. All these sources that you just saw in this video were the ones that I felt like helped me make more sense of this problem. But by looking for these sources, I saw hundreds of more sources that I didn't actually put into the video or think that would help me. But I still saw them, which means that it did give some impact on me. It might not have been a massive one, but if you get 100 sources that give a small impact on you, it adds up and it gives a pretty decent impact. And that impact might help you find what you were looking for. I really hope if you have this problem, you try some things that I'm gonna try out as well. And I hope that the main thing that you learned is that it's your problem and you need to find your own way for this solution to fix this problem. And I still haven't fixed it, and that's okay, because you can't just fix the problem like that in doing a little bit of research. So thank you for watching, and I really hope you did learn something, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.